Tourism is a social, cultural, and economic phenomenon which entails the movement of people to countries or places outside their usual environment for personal, business, or professional purposes. And believe it or not, it is a very big business with immense potential for societal transformation through employment generation, increased revenue for government, global interaction, and sustenance of social order, among others. This is all the more relevant in our climate, where government and the citizens have for some time now dedicated a lot of capital towards achieving economic diversification for all-round development. So, whenever global attention is placed on tourism, it becomes a huge opportunity for stakeholders and government to reflect not just on its benefits, but how these potentials can be tapped to the advantage of all. Little wonder why the United Nations World Tourism Organization set aside a day yearly for the celebration of World Tourism Day. It is a global observance day which fosters awareness of tourism's social, cultural, political, and economic importance, including contributions which the sector can make towards reaching the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, among other benefits. Recently, Ogun State joined its counterpart all over the world to commemorate the day with a host of captivating activities targeted at awakening the consciousness of the people towards the unsung and largely untapped potentials made possible by the sector for the common good of one and all. The commemoration with the theme Tourism for Inclusive Growth was a 2-day event which witnessed the congregation of an amalgam of individuals from government to the people with the sole aim of achieving the goal as highlighted earlier. At the Adire Market at Ashiro in Abeokuta, the state capital, the State Ministry of Culture and Tourism brought together participants from all over the state for a capacity building session where these individuals were enlightened on the possible benefits of the Adire fabric.
We're trying to give training to people from all over the 20 local governments. We've asked them to come. Some local government sent 10 representatives and some 5, depending on their capacity to be able to sponsor. Now we have them on ground since morning, and we're trying to train them, particularly in our own local indigenous fabric. Ogun State is known to be the premier of Adire and Kampala, and in trying to make sure that these people are self-reliant and then they can stand on their own, we are trying to make sure we train people that also will go to their local government to train others. We're thinking of the multiplier effect of what we're doing today, because we know that when you build human capacity, you are also indirectly or directly building the economic capacity of everybody. The economic capacity of any human being or organization or group depends on the human capacity.
After the session, some participants at the training shared their views.
I'm using this opportunity to thank our amiable governor, Prince Dapo Abiodun, for giving us this opportunity. Formerly, I'm selling Kampala from Idiroko, but now that I'm here to learn about to do Kampala, so I don't need to come to Abeokuta to come and buy it again. So I will use this opportunity to do it myself. So I'm using this opportunity to thank our able governor and our commissioner for tourism and culture. So we really appreciate their efforts.
I thank you for what our governor has done so far. He has introduced what we call entrepreneurship, which has really helped the less privileged. So what I've gained so much about this is that I have been wondering about Kampala, that most time when people wear Kampala, it used to have what we call, it used to ping, omambo. But now from what I have observed today is that if it is not being kept in water very well, or you don't use enough resources, that is when it would ping, omambo. But we have come to realize that it is not, Kampala is not even like that. then if this thing really wants to have a good stand, I would appreciate if it is possible for our governor that they should insist on the citizens to be wearing this Kampala every Friday. So if they insist it, we wear it on every Friday, people that we have even learned, we will have the opportunity to know where we can sell it out.
I thank God, first of all, for being here. Secondly, I thank God for our governor, Amoba Dapo Abiodun. He's really trying for us, we youth, because coming here to learn all this fabric something, it's really help we youths. Because nowadays youths don't have work to do, but with this, it's creating job for us. Me, I have my own job, but it's not enough for me. But immediately I got here, the little I learned from here, it can assist me, it can help me with my generation, even my unborn child. So I learned a lot from what I came here for. So once again, I thank God and I thank our governor.
At the grand event held at the Valley View Auditorium at the Government House, Okegbenyi, the state governor, Prince Dapo Abiodun, represented by the Secretary to the State Government, Mr. Tokunbo Talabi, affirmed his administration's commitment to investing in people, boosting infrastructure development, shaping better policies and institutions, as well as fostering innovation and digitalization for sustainable growth, as encapsulated in the theme, Terrorism for Inclusive Growth.
The core of our administration efforts is investing in people, boosting infrastructure development, shaping better policies and institutions, and building resilience in stimulating entrepreneurship, fostering innovation and digitalization to make way for sustainable growth as encapsulated in this year's theme of tourism for inclusive growth. However, we are not looking away from the sustainable use of the rich biodiversity and culture of the state to unlock and realize the potential of tourism for economic growth in the state. Let me reiterate at this point that tourism is, like every other sector during infancy, is faced with certain challenges, though it is surmountable through steadfastness and focus. Some of the factors mitigating against tourism in Nigeria and Africa at large include insufficient innovation and technology, insecurity of lives and properties, inadequate education and orientation on tourism, insufficient empowerment of youth and women, inadequate public-private partnership, and suddenly the COVID-19 pandemic which hit the globe like a thunderbolt.
He said the government has strengthened the security architecture of the state, which is a prerequisite for sustainable tourism through public-private partnership, adding that they are also determined to empower more youths and women through training, especially in tourism-related fields, so as to develop more tourist sites to boost the state's economy.
As complex as these challenges appear, within the short period of this administration, we have been able to strengthen the security architecture of the state, which is a prerequisite for sustainable tourism, and especially through public and private partnership. In terms of innovation and technology, we have developed a significant innovation in managing and promoting tourism, particularly on how tourists search and receive information that guide them to the final choice of destination. Through advocacy, awareness raising and activities programmed through various initiatives, this administration is determined to empower more youth and women through training, essentially in tourism-related fields, so as to increase the tourism and economic value of the state. In the same vein, we have invested heavily in capacity building of our tourism personnel, so as to take advantage of knowledge sharing, as well as increase their ability to better deliver on the development of tourism in the state.
Chief of Staff to the Governor, Alhaji Salisu Afolabi Shuaib, also joined the discourse, where he asserted that tourism had a very long value chain connecting housing, hospitality, infrastructure, culture, people, and medicine. He noted that in the face of the country's economic challenges, particularly in terms of foreign exchange, tourism was one area which, if properly harnessed, could compete globally and attract foreign exchange earnings.
Tourism has a very long value chain. Tourism has connection with housing, it has to do with hospitality, it has to do with infrastructure, it has to do with our culture, it has to do with our people, it has to do with medical, and that's why you have medical tourism. At this point in time, when our country is experiencing challenges economically, particularly in terms of foreign exchange, tourism is one area that we can actually compete globally and attract foreign exchange and improperly handled.
He also highlighted the benefits of deploying digital technology to the marketing of the state's tourism potential.
We need to be able to project. A number of us travel to different countries, we book our flight, sometimes you even book your hotel, and you can see the dimension of the hotel. So I do hope that this website and other initiative will let people have a 3D visual visit to Ulumo, even while in Australia or America. But they should be able to visit the Palace of Alake of Ebala and be able to even have a feel that the first Bible that was brought into this country by Queen Victoria is in Alake's Palace. To be able to see the very first church and to go to Blinky's shrine in Djibouti. So I think we need to deploy that doctor for people to be able to visit without visiting. And then of course, we will also make them pay some amount of money. And if you listen to CNN, that's what they call 30 seconds of they don't call it tourism, 30-second vacation. And they will show you glimpses, video clips of beautiful places around the world that can go and do a vacation in 30 seconds. I think we will be able to adopt technology as well to deepen the knowledge and awareness about beautiful cultural tourism things that we have in the country.
Commissioner for Culture and Tourism, Dr. Oluwatoyin Taiwo, while delivering the United Nations World Tourism Organization Secretary General Zurab Pololika's speech, noted that tourism can help societies recover from the impacts of the pandemic while delivering hope.
Today, we recognize the power of tourism for inclusive groups. Tourism can help our society recover from the impact of the pandemic, and it can deliver hope to those who need it most. In many parts of the world, tourism is slow or is static. As it does, we must make sure that nobody misses out. Growth must be a benefit of every part of our diverse sector. From the biggest airline to the smallest family businesses. From the largest cities to the smallest rural communities. This is what it means when we say we will leave nobody behind, and why the benefit can spread far beyond tourism. Looking to the future, inclusive decision made will be key to transforming our sectors for the better. If we deliver tourism that is fair, greener, and more resilient.
Chairman House Committee on Information, Culture and Tourism in the State House of Assembly, Honorable Yusuf Adejojo, also added his voice to the matter.
The role of tourism sector in development has recently moved from an approach that focuses solely on the tourism sector's role in reducing poverty to a tourism sector that is also more inclusive. A Inclusive growth deals with policies that allow people from different groups, gender, ethnicity, religion, and across sectors, agriculture, manufacturing, industry, and services, to contribute to and benefit from economic growth. Inclusive growth is seen as sustainable growth that will create and expand economic opportunities and ensure broad access to this opportunity so that members of the society can participate in and benefit from growth. Tourism is considered a way to support job growth and thereby support the well-being of people in many emerging economies. For tourism to be considered inclusive, it must create productive employment as well as economic opportunities for entrepreneurs, while also ensuring equal access to the generated jobs and opportunities.
Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, Mr. Olusegun Olautan, said the United Nations World Tourism Organization aims to build a more resilient, sustainable and innovative tourism sector that generates jobs, promotes inclusive and low-carbon growth in line with all the dimensions of sustainable development goals in tourism.
Today, we join the rest of the world in celebrating the 44th World Tourism Day with the theme Tourism for Inclusive Growth. The theme, which has been carefully selected with the intention to bring to the fore the all-inclusive role which the tourism sector plays in the world economy, has contained the United Nations World Tourism Organization Agenda for Africa 2030. The Contour Agenda for Africa 2030 aims to build a more resilient, sustainable, and innovative tourism sector that creates jobs, promotes inclusive and low-carbon growth in line with all the dimensions of sustainable development in tourism by placing people, the planet, and prosperity at its forefront. This year's theme, Tourism for Inclusive Growth, brings to mind that in the next decade, tourism continued growth is expected to generate no less than 11.7 million jobs in Africa. Despite the devastating effect of COVID-19.
Lectures were also delivered to mark the day. Presenting the first lecture, titled The Role of Security, Safety and Effective Crisis Communication in the Development of Resilient Tourism in Nigeria, the Deputy Commandant, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Dr. Blessing Akalugo, said that safety and security have become more important issues due to increasing wave of terrorism, local wars, natural disasters, epidemics, pandemics, and kidnapping, which all have the potential to threaten the growth of the sector.
Safety and security are commonly desired conditions under which travels and tourism flourished. Security has become more important issue than ever before due to increasing wave of tourist acts, local wars, natural disasters, epidemics and pandemics, civil unrest, kidnapping for ransom, and recently tourism, to mention some, are enemies of tourism in Nigeria. Regrettably, the security warnings declared by the nation states and international organizations against the danger posed by those constraints on tourism have been misconstrued as negative propaganda in Nigeria. This significantly affects all spheres of life. More researchers have to face the issue of safety and security in tourism in order to prepare the stakeholders and future specialists in the industry for the emerging challenges
with a view to developing strategies in reduce the effects of the security incidents on tourism business.
The project manager, Ogun State Forest Reserve, Mr. Wahid Adeboshin, spoke on wildlife protection and conservation, a panacea for sustainable tourism in Nigeria.
Wildlife tourism in the simplest sense is interacting with wild animals in their natural abode, either by actively participating in hunting and collection or passively by watching or photographing. Wildlife tourism is an important part of tourism industry in many countries, including many African and other countries. It has experienced a dramatic and rapid growth in recent years worldwide, and many elements are closely aligned to ecotourism and sustainable tourism. Wildlife tourism currently employs 22 million worldwide, directly or indirectly, and contribute more than $120 billion to global GDP. As a multi-million-dollar international industry, wildlife tourism is often characterized by offering of customized tour package and safari to allow close access to wildlife.
And finally, Omoba Abiola Ogundeko from Voyage Afrique Cruise and Tours Limited, in his presentation entitled Tourism for Inclusive Growth, the Place of Cultural Heritage in the Advancement of Tourism in Nigeria, examined the place of cultural heritage in the development of tourism in our country.
Culture and tourism are linked because of their obvious synergies and their growth potential. Cultural tourism is one of the largest and the fastest growing global tourism markets, and cultural and creative industry are increasingly being used to promote destinations. Here in Ogun State, we are blessed with a variety of all three types of cultural heritage. We can boast of several cultural sites, monuments, folklore, traditional activities, festival practices, language, customs, artistic expression, values, etc. that are considered vital to be preserved for future generations.
There can be no doubt that tourism, if well harnessed, can represent a large source of foreign exchange for our country, and this is why everyone, government and citizens alike, will do well to take advantage of this largely untapped sector to bring about the development and growth that we as a people so desperately desire. Ìgbéga ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn, àjọṣe wa ni.